This mutation is called Flip My Base, and it is being played on missed opportunities. We have 3 mutators active. We have Eminent Domain, Missile Command, we have Purifier Beam. So overall, not a terrible set of mutators. If you are going for static defense, you have to be a little bit careful to make sure you don't end up losing your structures to the missiles. As you can see over here, the missile command can get pretty nasty. Now, one of the good things about Stukov, particularly, is that his bunkers are hit scan. So what you can do is you can put your bunkers around the map, and these bunkers will actually pick off the missiles that have the point defense missiles as well. So that does help a lot when it comes to simplifying the deadliness of having nukes in your base. Now, sometimes what can happen is you can get missiles that spawn from, this side of the map, for example, and you can end up getting nuked regardless, but for the most part it can be mitigated by paying attention to the minimap, because as soon as the nukes start to spawn, you will hear the very, very terrifying alarm sound that comes up when these missiles are out. So Stukov's infested colonist compound taking a little bit too much damage, but that is because Stukov has no structures available on the map so far, because he has saved up the resources to try and put down his command center. So once these things start coming up, the damage that gets spread up among all those other structures, so it'll reduce the amount of impact on Stukov as for the rest of the mission. So we can see here that Tychus has already started to put down a number of auto turrets, and he'll be using these auto turrets to start clearing out the side while Tychus goes ahead and starts dealing with the attack wave and whatnot. So we have a barracks out also for Stukov. Stukov needs those barracks to get his first set of bunkers, and that'll be his essential static defense that will be used throughout the course of this mission, as well as providing him with the pushing force that he needs to continue in his path to global domination. So first bunker now is out, so there we go. And now the command center is also out and ready, and now there are just a bunch of SCVs that are going to be attacking the site. So Tychus is over here getting ready to deal with the attack wave, while his turrets end up cleaning up the side. So he's I don't know whether he's going to end up salvaging those turrets or just leave them up to deal with the missile command mutator. We'll see in just a bit if he chooses to salvage those. I think he's probably going to leave them up just to provide himself with a little bit of extra damage output here. So we have a bunch of infested that are slowly attacking the site. One thing you can do if you are playing with Stukov is you can uproot this and infest it, and then just to move this thing around like back and forth, and the broodlings will surround this set of rocks and end up taking them out. Stukov does tend to kind of struggle a little bit when it comes to dealing with clearing the expansion. Fortunately, Tychus does end up getting picked off here by the Purifier Beam, which is kind of surprising there, considering that he normally does not make mistakes like this, which is kind of amusing there. But anyway, we do have a few more auto turrets that are coming out first for Tychus, and then we have some bunkers also being spread out for Stukov, and Stukov basically has to try and put down as many bunkers as he can, try and saturate this mineral line over here, which is what will be happening in the time being. So we feel a little bit of an oversaturation here, but the other thing that Stukov also needs to do is start getting his upgrades, his attack upgrades. So we have an Apocalypse now to help defend against the first spawn, because Tychus was taken out, unfortunately, during the first skirmish. So the Apocalypse now is over here. I'm going to move on this side now to just try and go for the not even clear the bonus objective, but just weaken the enemy forces, just to start preparing the site, so that when it does get when the time comes to the bonus objective, you don't really have to push through very much unpleasant stuff in the process. So Stukov here is just slowly macroing up and just trying to utilize the resources as effectively as possible. There is an oversaturation here of the workers. This geyser might be a little bit further away, but it's just unnecessary to have that many workers at the moment there. But that will eventually be corrected at some point when Stukov notices that is happening. So again, there is now another set of infest structures, and those things are just there to just weaken these cannons out. And so far, so good. The Purifier beam is doing okay. There are a bunch of Stukov infested units that are attacking over here. Still no upgrades though for Stukov because his gases are kind of stifled at the moment. But now there is a bunker that has come up over here. These two bunkers will start attacking these rocks. At the time of this match, these rocks are not they are not considered enemy units, so the attack has to be selected manually on this side. Stukov now has the Alexander out, so he uses the Alexander to start weakening the enemy forces on this in this camp, just to clear a little bit ahead, so that you know, there's not that much pressure on Tychus when it comes to going to push into the next set of enemy camps. So that Alexander's going to be over here, and now the Alexander will be moving towards this side as well. It might be able to steal the Void Ray and deal a little bit of extra damage as well, and infest structure as well. Alexander ends up stealing this Void Ray, and then now the Alexander goes down, taking out the photon cannon underneath it. So the next wave of harvesting bots are ready to go now, and yeah, they're basically bunkers being spread all across the map here, all across the base, just to provide a little bit of cover for the missile command mutator that is constantly attacking their bases right now, and still no manual target onto the onto these rocks over here, so that is delaying Stukov's effectiveness in the gas farming here in the early stages of the game. Stukov doesn't really need that much gas, but you know, just having access to the extra gas in the early stages just allows you to get your upgrades a little bit faster. So Rattlesnake is getting attacked over here, where the Apocalypse comes down now to start dealing with this next harass wave. Again, Borrow Charge over here, and pretty much one-shotting everything that has been spawned so far. And Tychus is now in position and ready to go. And over here, yeah, Stukov is still not taking those gas rocks over here. But upgrades are now doing okay, so Stukov has the anaerobic enhancement upgrade and the retinal augmentation upgrade as well, so that's going to increase his range. It'll also allow the infested to jump and attack some of the units that are there, which will make it'll increase the effectiveness of some of the volatile infested that are there. Tychus uses a Sure Grenade on the front here, weakening a lot of the enemy units over here. Rattlesnake gets microed back a little bit, and yeah, this next harass wave will end up getting cleaned up. You can see here, Stukov is already starting to build a lot more infested bunkers on the side, just to provide a little bit of cover for his ally, and that will be able to help him when it comes to dealing with the missiles and whatnot. Yeah.
Our forces have met the enemy.
So over here now, there is an infest structure that gets dropped. This does end up stalling the attack wave a little bit. It just causes a little bit more havoc for Emon's forces. And again, it just ends up softening a little bit of these defenses here. And we have the cluster missiles as well that are starting to spawn now as part of the missile command mutator. We do have a bunch of immortals right here, but again, they're no match for Rattlesnake's extra damage, and that ends up getting cleaned up. There's Cannonball as well in the front here to just be able to tank through some of these units. I think it's just mostly style points here. Not really necessary, but you know, given the circumstances, why not have some fun? So the next bunch of geysers have been marked for collection. Stukov is going ahead and continuing to build there. So the Broodling Gestation upgrade has also been researched over here. So there we go. Tychus drops the Odin now, and he will be good to go. I think he wants to go ahead and drop his nuke onto this next bonus objective here, which is just efficient use of the nuke, because this next area has been completely cleared anyway. So he's gonna move his Odin in, and then he drops a nuke on this side. Pretty much essentially one-shotting all the units that are there except for these hybrids. Hybrids are not really going to stand a chance against the Odin, and this hybrid dominator might actually get a plasma blast off, but that's pretty much it. Nope, never mind, he ends up dying off to that, and that bonus objective has been cleared now. Over here, Rattlesnake is does get surrounded by a bunch of units here. Cannonball doing the same thing now, and Cannonball does have the respawn, whatever this ability is called. I can't remember the emergency ability that refills his HP when he takes fatal damage. I cannot remember what it's called. But he does have an upgrade that ends up keeping him alive. And now the rest of Stukov's army now is just going to start pushing to this side, just a little bit more and cleaning up this the rest of these forces. But now the next set of attack waves have spawned, so there's Cannonball over here that's end up taking a lot of damage from these units, and he does end up getting killed off by that attack wave. Tychus is left by himself on here, and there we go. So he's able to handle this okay. He does have Rattlesnake to help him now, and Rattlesnake will be pushing in on this side. Now the Apocalypse gets dropped here to provide Tychus with a little bit more backup, as Stukov's army is dealing with the rest of the harass waves on the other side. Now the Scimeter has been put into position here, and these infested units are going to be able to handle the next attack, the next harass wave without too many problems. The Apocalypse does get deep tunneled across, just dealing a little bit more damage, and now it does end up getting gibbed here. And now the rest of Stukov's infested are going to be working their way on here. So now we do have 2 Purifier beams, so we'll have to be a little bit careful. Alexander does get dropped on here to just to cause a little bit more damage onto this attack wave, just dealing a little bit of damage just to start clearing up the remaining immortals from that harass wave. And now it gets pushed forward here to do a little bit more to clear out this enemy camp on this side. And now we have Blaze added to the mix as well, just to troll. That harvesting bot is taking a little bit of damage, but these commanders are in position and they end up saving this harvesting bot before it ends up going down. You do not really want to lose these bots too early. We have again another bunch of bunkers are being put. All these bunkers are there just to help defend against this the missile nuke. Speaking of which, so we have the first nuke. A missile that is dropped over here and gets picked off by the bunker, and this is why these bunkers are really very valuable. They are able to bypass the point defense missiles that accompany these nuclear missiles. And yeah, there we go. So now we have Blaze, Cannonball, and Tychus slowly attacking through here. Rattlesnake, I think, might have gotten picked off at some point, but now there is an attack wave as well that is making its way towards the player's bases. Unfortunately, there is no creep here for Stukov, so Stukov's infested are going to be slowing down, and they won't be able to get to where they need to be. And this attack wave is very, very close to causing too many problems for the commanders. But that is the second bonus objective done. Now I think Tychus is going to medevac himself over here and start dealing with this. There are a few bunkers here to help defend against this attack wave. Bunkers not going to be enough though, so there's an infest structure that gets dropped as well to just deal a little bit of extra damage. And now, next nuke has been spawned and is coming up from very, very far away. It's going to be a while before that nuke actually gets into position, and I think it might actually get picked off by some of the infested over here. Nuke is still alive, but I think it'll be okay. Stukov has already started to push into this side now, and he'll eventually be able to overwhelm the map here. So yeah, there are a bunch of infested units here, and that nuke is pretty much going down now. So that is the end of that nuke. Stukov just keeps a Scimeter on that side just to start pushing into Amon's base here. And once his base ends up getting cleaned up, it'll become a little bit easier as well to just get vision of the full map, and making sure that you don't have random units trickling across and making your life very miserable. So Tychus is now also on here, so he's going to clear the last area that needs to be cleaned up from this side. And there's also a nuke that is coming up towards this side. It may again get caught off by some of the infested trickle that is being spawned from the bunkers, so it's not really too much of a problem. So there are the infested here. They end up taking out all these point defense missiles, and now there is that nuke also taken care of, and that nuke is gone. And now Stukov's infested. Stukov's still not taking this side. This is actually annoying me. Like, my own play is actually triggering me right now. Oh my god. It's like... Okay, so, Tychus is basically going to be trolling Amon right now. He's gone for a very inefficient build, just to show you how OP Tychus is and how simple, how straightforward this mutation is. The bunkers are basically going to be sending a huge trickle of units towards this side. Again, now we have another harass wave that's come up, but the Apocalypse ends up being spawned, and now this nuke is coming up from here, but this nuke will end up also getting cleaned up very, very quickly by the bunkers. And this is why having bunkers all around the map basically just locks the mission in and makes sure you don't really lose too much. Tychus, Stukov already has his level 3 melee upgrade, so he's doing okay on that front. Doing a little bit more damage, and there's lots of infested as well on the side, just to pull over here. And on this side, the Apocalypse has just been sent here to start attacking this enemy base, and again softening the defenses. There is another attack wave that has spawned on this side. Apocalypse taking a little bit of damage, but again there's a deep tunnel across here. Ends up stunning the rest of these immortals. I think pretty much all of them have gone down except for one, but that's not really too big of a deal. There is another harass wave that has come up on here, but Tychus is able to intercept that. Ends up cleaning up their harass wave, and now the rest of these infested will end up cleaning up the rest of these scouts, and that one immortal that ended up surviving just a little bit. And I think
Our allies
the
are
next
in
nuke is on the
combat.
way now. And again, it'll be a while before that nuke gets to a point where it'll start to where it'll actually be intercepted by the attack waves or the trickle spawn here. But Stukov does end up moving that to intercept the nuke, and the Scimeter has been moved now and is pretty much good to go now. And he is ready to go and push again into Amon's base. He's gonna park the units over here now, and he's gonna start just harassing the side again. This full cannon is not really going to last very long. And now there's a Colossus there that is kind of standing strong against these infested units, but again, not really much of an issue. And now the attack wave has ended up spawning on top of these infested units. The disruptors do get their shots off. The Alexander does come down to cause a little bit more havoc onto this attack wave, and this attack wave is pretty much going to get cleaned up very quickly by the allied forces here. So again, Alexander just gets floated around the area, just need a little bit more damage. Again, we have a nuclear missile here. Nuke is not going to last very long against these bunkers. And the Alexander now catching off some Immortals, or some Colossi, and some Void Rays on the side, and dealing extra bits of damage to the rest of Amon's structures here. And yeah, the Alexander will just be moved forward until the entire enemy base has been cleared. Few structures remaining over here, but Tychus has already got that covered, and the rest of the infests are just going to move towards the side now and start cleaning up whatever is left of Amon's base here. We have another nuclear missile, and this one is going to be a while before it does, unless the commanders decide to intercept it. It's going to be a while before that happens because it has to actually go through the Amon's base on the bottom of the bonus objective area. But I think for the most part, this area has been cleaned up. See, there's a probe over there that keeps hiding. Always, if you do try and all clear a mission, make sure you check the corners because it does cause a few problems. There is a Purifier beam that is parked on here, which is causing a few problems for Stukov because it is in the way of the infested trickle that is ending up killing some of these infested units over here. But yeah, there are 3 Purifier beams now on the map. That's 1, that's 2, and that is 3. But again, it doesn't really matter. This mission is pretty much under control now for both these commanders. And Stukov flowing about 7,000 minerals right now because he is supply capped. Has nothing better to do. There's another nuclear missile that's coming up here, but again, it is in range of these bunkers and these infested units, and they will end up cleaning up that nuke as well, and that nuke is gone. And yeah, there we go. There are a bunch of infested now. They get rallied on here. The infested is just trying to chase that probe over here with a jump, which is kind of funny. Does end up killing off that probe now. There's a few more structures that get put down by the probe there, but these infested units will end up cleaning up that side. And for the most part, I think pretty much all done.
Our forces are under attack.
Purifier beam still dealing a lot of damage to these infested units over here. One of the annoying things about having these infested, the Purifier beam over there. There's another probe that is there, but there's a mark there on the probe. Probe gets picked off now, and the rest of these structures are going to end up getting cleaned up. And now the next nuke is going to spawn, along with a harass wave, which is also in this location. So this nuke again is in a little bit of an inconvenient location. Apocalypse does come down to help bank up Tychus. The cluster missiles or whatever do end up getting cleaned up on that part over there. And there's another harass wave as well on this side that ends up getting intercepted by Tychus. Nuke is getting very, very close to the player's base. And again, there are a lot of bunkers on this side, and the nuke does end up going down very, very quickly. And now there is another wave that is coming up to wants to try and take out these harvesting bots, but again, Tychus is in position, uses Blaze, the oil spill ability, and Cannonball in the front here to stun the Immortals, and those Immortals do end up being cleaned up. And again, Cannonball again standing really strong here, pretty much invincible against these Immortals here. And there's another harass wave again that comes up from Tychus. Very fortunate here, given that there is a lot of damage output here. Very nice pick up on the medevac here to just reduce the amount of damage that Tychus ends up taking from those disruptors. And now the next nuke has spawned, but ends up going down to the bunker over here. And yeah, these bunkers are pretty much locked down this mission very, very well. And for the most part, now there's another harass wave coming up, but Tychus is pretty much good to go. I'm actually not sure if any units have spawned in the spawn point here. I think the Scimeter is just unlucky that unlucky spawn here. The intent of this Scimeter on this location here is so that Stukov can deal with some of the random harass waves that spawn on this side. I don't think it is happening. And now the two Purifier beams are getting closer and closer, and they will be merged at some point. Now there is another harass wave on this side. Again, it's cleaned up by Tychus pretty well. And yeah, there we go. So now we have I think it's basically just now waiting for the next attack wave to spawn. There's an attack wave, I think, and one harass wave left. For this last wave of harvesting bots. There's another nuke that's coming up, so there's the harass wave. I think but there might be two more harass waves. I'm not really sure. But anyway, that is the attack wave that comes up. Again, Stukov's army is right on top of that. Does deal a lot of damage, but again, Stukov's army not particularly strong over here. So Tychus takes an Odin, drops a nuke on top of this, pretty much deletes everything else that is left from this. And you can see here there happens to be a pesky probe that has resurrected pretty much everything of Amon's base here. And that might be the last one here. Rattlesnake and Crooked Sam able to deal with this with Cannonball and Blaze by their side. And yeah, there is more Purifier beams on this side as well, which is again really annoying because they're in the way. Probe hunt simulation. Yes. Yeah, that one probe is just an MVP. I don't know how many structures it like created, but it is just so annoying when these probes just go ahead and just keep building everything. So there's another nuclear missile here. Not really too big of a deal because I think the harvesting bot might get to the base before the nuke does. But yeah, I think that area has finally been cleaned off by the Allied commanders because those structures, I think the probe has actually been caught out now. And that is the last wave of harvesting bots. Stukov, with very minimal assistance from Stukov, and a very troll build by Tychus. But there we go, that is a very straightforward mutation. That is GG.